Good morning, I'm Adam Sexton. As the Biden administration continues its vaccine push and attempts to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the economy, Vice President Kamala Harris came to New Hampshire to showcase those efforts. We spoke with her one-on-one in Concord Friday afternoon, asking her about the pandemic, immigration, and, of course, New Hampshire. Madam Vice President, thank you so much for taking time to speak with us today. I want to start on the pandemic. Will there be a defined end, a mission accomplished moment, do you think, during the Biden administration on the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, we certainly hope so, but right now we're in the phase where now everyone can get vaccinated, and so we just want everyone to get there and get your vaccination. And, continue to wear masks as appropriate and social distance, and we'll get through this. And we have seen great progress. But part of the reason that we've seen progress is because people are getting vaccinated, because people continue to social distance, wash their hands, and wear masks. So let's continue to do that, and it is absolutely our goal that the light will be clear at the end of the tunnel, and we will get there.
Now, here in New Hampshire, you mentioned masks. Governor Chris Sununu lifted our statewide mask mandate. We're going to have no business restrictions in a couple of weeks. A lot of Democrats feel that's too soon. Do you agree with them?
I mean, I think that, listen, people need to wear masks as appropriate, to be careful, to take care of their health and the health of their neighbor.
You're here to talk about infrastructure. Yes. Right now, Republicans are attacking you, saying you shouldn't be in New Hampshire talking about infrastructure. You should be in the southern border talking about immigration. How do you respond to them?
I'm not going to play political games. I'm here because the American Jobs Plan is going to bring an incredible amount of support to New Hampshire. Earlier today, I was at the New Hampshire Electric Co-op, where the Rural Electrification Act was passed in 1936, and here in New Hampshire in 1939, a pole went up that helped electrify the rural parts of New Hampshire. And it is now the basis for incredible work that's happening around laying broadband. The American Jobs Plan is going to put $100 million into laying broadband, with an emphasis on making sure rural America is included and supported, and that things like a co-op, the one here in New Hampshire being one of the best, that is supported.
There's a lot of talk about what this package is going to look like in the end. Republicans have proposed something far more modest, about $500 billion, basically. Do you feel like there's room for compromise, or are you going to be that 51st vote, essentially, the tiebreaker, do you think, to get the Democratic plan across the line?
The president has been very clear, and we've been clear from the beginning. We want to work together. When you think about, people who have to drive over roads and bridges that are falling apart and potholes, at that moment where they have to then figure out how they're going to pay for a $400 unexpected expense, which is putting tires on their car, they're not thinking about who they voted for in the last election. They're trying to get through the end of the month and figure out how to keep going to work and taking care of their kids. That's what Americans want right now. They want leadership that is really about focusing on them in a practical way. And I'm going to tell you, it's so good to be back in New Hampshire. It's a New Hampshire way of doing stuff. Let's be practical. Let's be straightforward. Let's not play games. Let's meet the people where they are.
The national conversation on race continues in the wake of the verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial.
Yes.
Some believe the criminal justice system is beyond repair. And we have Black Lives Matter activists here in New Hampshire who are now supporting police abolition, a complete overhaul and reimagining of the system. Is there a way to rebuild trust between these communities and law enforcement, or is that abolition conversation one that needs to move forward?
I absolutely believe there is a way to rebuild trust, but it will not happen by itself. So, for example, the President and I are supporting the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. We believe that is a step toward building back that trust, which is about saying that there should be accountability, and we should speak truth about the realities of these issues in a way that we correct them going forward.
I'm curious also, you mentioned that you're here in New Hampshire. Eventually there is going to be a fight over who gets to vote first in the primary process. I know that's not the headache that you have. That's one that belongs to the DNC. And you're well aware, we've talked about before, that we really wish we could have seen more of you in 2019. We enjoyed the time that we did spend with you. But did you think that your time here, you found it exceptional or unique in any way? Or could this have just been any other state voting first?
Oh, I loved being in New Hampshire. It was great to come back today. I went to my favorite bookstore. I've been with a lot of the local leaders and obviously the elected leaders. And I think New Hampshire is very much a measure of where we are as a country, both in terms of our strength, but in terms of the needs. I spent a lot of time here, for example, well over a year ago, meeting with the mayor, Joyce, about the opioid crisis. I have spent time here meeting with small business owners. You can just go through the variety of issues. The child care deserts here in New Hampshire, so all of the working families and hopefully going back to work, but in need of child care. These are the issues that are confronting Americans, and New Hampshire is, I think, a very important measure of how we're doing as a country.
Madam Vice President, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. It's good to see you. Thank you.